this press conference following the events from Thursday during the State of the Nation address. Just to introduce my colleagues, this is Katie Pedopoulos. She is the Deputy Chair at Sanef, and Sam Kokeli, who is the Chair of the Subcommittee on Media Freedom. My name is Mahlatse Ganans. I am the Chairperson of the South African National Editors Forum. I'm going to ask Katie to go through the statement, and after that we can then take questions.
The South African National Editors Forum strongly condemns the events which unfolded in Parliament this week during President Jacob Zuma's State of the Nation address, which often saw journalists being restricted. There was a heavy security presence consisting of members of the SAPS, SANDF and SSA that included heavily armed military police, which created a climate of intimidation. Some journalists were intermittently prevented from doing their jobs as SONA events unfolded, including during the dramatic ejection of parliamentarians. Civilian-clothed police officials prevented camera persons and journalists from freely moving through parliamentary corridors. Journalists based at Parliament's media offices were hampered from leaving and returning to their offices as a line of riot police blocked off the access road. Police also attempted to prevent some photographers from capturing scenes in the precinct. There appears to have been confusion by individual members of the security establishment who adopted a haphazard approach and who appeared not to be aware of assurances that the media would not be obstructed. Sanef is deeply concerned by these events, as we view it as a security crackdown on the media in the wake of broader securitization of what ought to be the People's Parliament. Security measures, including a greater role played by the State Security Agency, appear to have increased year on year since 2015.
We are concerned about the kind of conversations we've had with the leadership of Parliament, both at the political and administrative level. Our colleagues at the Parliamentary Press Association, PGA, met without us initially, the leaders of Parliament, and jointly with us, we had a meeting where they undertook that there would be nothing different to the previous interactions we've had with Parliament. The same provisions for the coverage of SONA wouldn't be different. It seems those statements are not made in good faith, because despite the undertakings that nothing would be different, it really was different on the day. As Mahlatse has articulated here, we had major problems with them moving around. One of the examples, a colleague who pulled out of the National Assembly when some MPs were being ejected, was allowed out of the National Assembly, but not back in the National Assembly where the Speaker of the President was delivering the State of the Nation. The substantive effect of that is that the media is not able to play its role freely to relay the message to the public out there so that the public can make up their own mind about the development and the state of the nation. That is actually the substantive effect.
Obviously, there would be an interest with journalists when the MPs are walking out of the National Assembly or being thrown out, but access to that was then limited. And then the next minute, that corridor of riot police has since been removed because there was nothing else to then report on. Just to also add, I mean, the PGA had started the conversations with the presiding officer, with the Secretary of Parliament, and in that week leading to SONA as Sanef, we had written letters to the Speaker, Baleka Mbete, and also to the Chairperson of the NCOP, Thandi Modise, saying that we are concerned that journalists might not be able to do their work on the day of SONA. The only response we did get was from the Chair of the NCOP, who referred our issue to the Secretary of Parliament. But I think from where we are standing is that, you know, some of the things that happened that left us, you know, quite alarmed was even when that press statement was released by Parliament, where they said that the journalists and Parliament had reached some form of agreement when that was actually not the case. So we are hoping that we will be able to have meetings with the presiding officers and also with the Secretary of Parliament, because we would like an environment where journalists are able to do their work without fear, without intimidation. And the biggest concern we have was that at some point a lot of the journalists were saying to us it all seemed very coordinated because there is